How are my favorite girls in the world doing? So excited about this week. I feel like I don't know if it's because it's a Leo season in August, because for me, if you're not a Leo August, you're not a Leo. Let me start there. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, Leo is August, okay? August is Leo. Like, I don't even know how else to like think about it. Speaking like a true August Leo myself, obviously, but I just feel like this is like an energy of really like starting over. Am I the only one feeling this? Am I the only one feeling like we are finally being given the opportunity to like, okay, it's time to reinvent ourselves. It's time to start over. It's time to like let go of the shitty year you had and just really decide, okay, who am I going to be moving forward, and what do I want my life to look like, and how do I want to like, show up in my life, show up in the world. I think those are the real questions that are being asked right now, and I think that this is the best time of the year, so far at least, to really get that glow up, really get that reinventing yourself, doing a full on, what's it called? Like a makeover. Yes, that is the word I was looking for. Like, I feel like right now this month of August is all about getting yourself a makeover, like letting yourself start over, deciding like which character you want to play in your life, who do you want to be in your life, and really like own that shit and walk in confidence and just show up differently. I feel like we're finally there. And maybe again, because I'm a Leo, this season specifically does affect me energetically. Like in a good way. And I also think that the portal, the 8-8 portal that is coming up like this week already, all of those little energetic shifts are currently happening. And personally in my life, I feel like I really am closing a big cycle of death and rebirth, finally being reborn again from the ashes. I just feel like, as I've told you so many times throughout the year, this year, it was a challenging year. And I know that it wasn't just for me. I know it was like that for a lot of us. And so to finally be able to start feeling like myself again, to finally be able to like, I don't know, just really like feel that groove, feel that like energy come back to me. Oh my God, like I have missed me. Does that make sense? Like, I have missed me so much. I have missed feeling like myself. I have missed dancing in front of my mirror. I've missed just feeling inspired and waking up excited for the day. I've missed that like spicy, sparkly energy that is so usually natural to me, but this year was just so fucking hard that like completely stripped that spark away. I was just like really in survival mode. I was really struggling. I was really like feeling lost and overwhelmed and confused and numb and like all the things that you usually try to avoid being at. I just couldn't seem to get out of that place, and it was really fucking hard for me. And I know that investing in support, I know that like continuing to lean on my friends and lean on myself, obviously, I know that that definitely helped. But I think it also was an energetic shift. Like, I think this year was all about death. It was, it is year 9 still. And I do think that that has a lot of impact because it wasn't just a me thing. Like, I saw this happen to so many people just really going through it. And it was not pleasant, was it? It really wasn't. But here we are. We've survived another year, and I think ultimately now, like, now here's your chance to really like make it count. Maybe like the entire year so far sucked. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you never felt worse in your life. You can pick it back up, you can always bounce back. And I think that's something that like you really need to remember, because you always do. Like, not 99, like 100% of the times you always bounce back. 100% of the times you always make it. You always like overcome whatever obstacles are in front of you. You always do. You are here, and that is proof. That is the only proof that you need, is that like you are still here. And I'm so fucking glad, right? And so I just really feel like right now there's this energy kind of starting to like, I don't know. I just feel this little spark, and it's going to get ignited soon. And I would say use this momentum to really understand like what you want moving forward. And I wouldn't even say just what you want, but like act like what you want. Do you know what I mean? Cuz I think for me personally this year, I got so lost in translation between like my brain and my heart and actually like moving forward, taking action. Something that I spoke on, I think was my last episode. I was rationalizing myself and I was rationalizing my path, but I wasn't really taking any steps because I was so scared of making like, any moves that were wrong. I was scared of the consequences of making the wrong choices, and so I stopped trying. But what I've realized is like taking that action right now, whatever that looks like, it does not have to be complicated. Simple steps make all the difference in the world. Like you really just have to think about how you show up for yourself in the morning, how you show up for yourself when you're taking a shower, when you're on your phone. Like who are you being, like in the smallest ways, because we always think about the big moves and the big jumps and the big like the big steps and all those things, but really like none of that matters when you don't have the tiny ones figured out. And so for me right now, I'm really trying to prioritize just continuing to lean towards that excitement, continuing to do things that make me feel good, that give me pleasure, and just really like trying to grow that appreciation for where I'm at, which is something that I really tried to do throughout this year. No matter where I was, I think that is important. I think that is actually crucial to learning how to like navigate life, even when it's the hardest it's ever been. It's really learning to appreciate, like, I'm here for a reason. I think to build that trust is the best thing you can do because it does bring you a level of safety so that you can move forward in alignment rather than moving forward from fear and survival, because that is only going to like continue to recreate the same stories, the same wounds, the same like trauma. And so it's so important to really like be able to find trust mainly within yourself, but I do think it's also important to find trust in the universe, like having faith. That has been my fucking rock throughout all of this. It has been my faith in myself, in my journey, and the universe, because deep down, I've, you know, dove into spirituality already almost 5 years ago. Or it has been 5 years. Oh my God. Oh, that's so crazy. But basically, like, since then, I do think that having this understanding that like it is more than just this reality and these circumstances, like there's something higher happening here, and there's like a bigger purpose, there's like a bigger picture that isn't just like the human senses, like you kind of, I think you gain more capacity to like go through moments where you feel lost and confused and you don't have the answers, because it's part of the process and you trust that those answers are going to come in divine timing. And I think that makes a lot of fucking difference when you are navigating those challenges. So for me, it was so fucking important to continue to remember like I'm not alone and this is happening for a reason. And I know when I'm on the other side of this moment that feels so dark and confusing and like I feel so lost and I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I believe that somewhere out there I will find that. Somewhere out there it will make sense. Like at some point it's all going to make sense. At some point the pieces are going to fall into place. At some point, like I'm going to think like that's the level, right? Like at some point I'm going to thank the universe for this moment, although I hate it right now. And I think that's when you get to that level of like faith and trust, and your capacity, your resilience really grows from that and expands, because I mean life can be challenging. Life can be really hard, and I'm not saying that to discourage you. It's just that, like, it is hard sometimes, but it doesn't mean it's not magical. It doesn't mean that it's not fucking awesome, but it can be really tough. And I think that's what makes it magical, because if it wasn't, would anything really matter? Would anything have actual meaning? I think it's those moments of like hardships And the moments where we overcome certain mountains, like those are the moments that really like matter, you know? Those are the moments where we're like, whoa, I'm alive. Like, I think that gives you an appreciation for life that you wouldn't otherwise have if everything was just easy and handed over to you. And I know sometimes it sucks because it's like, oh, like just give me this, but this is not the answer. You always are, you know? We get so focused on like our external reality getting fixed, like, oh, if this one thing just like changed a little, or if this one person just started listening to me, everything would be easier. But like, that's not how it works. You can only change yourself, right? Like, you can only change and adjust according to the reality that you do want to live in, right? If I'm finding myself always frustrated with my friends or with my family, I'm going to ask myself, like, where am I not taking responsibility for this situation? And it doesn't mean that I'm the problem. Maybe they are the problem. Maybe they are the toxic ones. Maybe they are like walking red flags. But what I mean is, it's still my responsibility to choose what I'm going to do about it, because they are who they are. They're not going to change for you. They're not going to like listen to you just because you like, talk louder, or because you talk more rationally, or because you have this really good fucking argument. Like, they don't care because they do not comprehend you to that level. And if that's the case, it's just a matter of compatibility. It's just a matter of alignment. And some people simply aren't for you. Some people simply are not going to match you. And it's because you have outgrown them at some point. And that is a good thing, because there's other people out there waiting for you that are going to match your energy, that are going to like elevate you, that are going to inspire you. And I think that's so powerful. Like, if I had stayed in the group of friends that I had before, I wouldn't have met my best friend, I'm pretty sure, you know? And if I hadn't said goodbye to certain relationships in my life, I wouldn't have been able to heal and feel so much more empowered in my life, because I was so attached to these people that I thought like I can't live without them. Like, my life has no meaning without them. But like, every single time you find meaning, because life has meaning innately, and it is to live, and it is to live in your greatest expression. It is to like be who you came here to be, whatever that looks like for you. It is to live in your truth and do what feels truly good to your soul, right? That is the meaning of life, and you get to choose that every single day. And I feel like this year was hard, both internally and externally. Like, a lot of things happened externally in my life where everything was suddenly changing, relationships, dynamics, like my house situation, blah blah blah, like everything at the same damn time. And I feel like that wasn't just for me. I saw so many people go through it, but also that affected us, internally, because it's like, damn, everything is not the same anymore, and there's a level of grief to that. When things are changing so fast that you can barely keep up, there's a level of sadness, even if it's for your own like highest good. There's a level of sadness there. There's a level of like, I wish things would just stay the same, because this feels familiar, this feels safe, this feels comfortable. And sometimes you're not ready for discomfort, but are we ever ready for that? Like, I think we just get ready by being in the discomfort, and then it's like, yeah, figure it out, girl. Like, figure it out from here. You got this. And you're like, no, I don't. Please take me out of here. But it's like, no, you're already here. Like, now you have to figure it out. And I know that can feel really heavy and intense. And again, that is for a reason. And I think no matter how lost I felt, I always try to remind myself, like, this is going to make sense at some point. Because anytime I've been in this place where I'm at now, anytime I feel lost, anytime I feel confused or overwhelmed or unclear of how to move forward, every single time I find my answer. Every single time I figure it out and I continue to move forward, and I live to see another day, Like, so I think that really personally helped me. And then I think this year, for me, and also this is a part of the conversation that I really felt like bringing here today, is it really grew my emotional capacity, right? I have felt so many emotions that were really intense this year. And if there's something that I realize, is the importance of knowing how to navigate your emotions. you know? Like, I think that is probably one of the most powerful things you can do to have maturity in your emotions, to have emotional intelligence, to learn how to like make space for your emotions, to understand what you're feeling, to allowing yourself to feeling it. Because when you know how to make space for your emotions, you stop running away, you know? And you really like embrace where you are. And it kind of reminds me of the magician card in tarot, which basically is like you are where you are and you have the tools you need, and you like carve your path from there. You don't need to try to change your reality externally, as in like you don't need to change your circumstances to continue to know that like the power is within you. I think that comes from a lot of emotional maturity. It comes from understanding that most of the times it's just a matter of like you not knowing how to handle your own depth, and you not knowing how to handle like the chaos that emotions can be. And I think especially for women, I think we can go so deep, not even we understand it. Not even we can comprehend like how does all of this live inside me? Like what do you mean? How can I feel so deeply? Like where are these emotions coming from? And it almost feels like you're the only one who like accesses that deeply. I look at other people around me and I'm always like, "Do you feel this thing?" Like is it just like do you know what I mean? You know? And so oh my god, it's really hot today. But so that has been something that I realize how important it is, right? Because when you don't have that, it's just so easy to panic and to become so overwhelmed that you go back into your cave and you kind of like you lock yourself in because you're so scared of moving, which has happened to me this year, as I've told you many times. That's why I looked for therapy. That's why I looked for support, because I was like, yeah, this is a lot to handle on my own. And I don't think I can. And there's no problem with that. We are not obligated to know how to handle ourselves like all the time, because we didn't learn that growing up. We didn't learn how to fully handle the depth that we are. We didn't learn to fully like embrace ourselves, embrace our light, just as much as we didn't learn how to embrace our shadows. Like we are figuring that out. We are learning as we go. And so to ask for support, to recognize that you need help, I think that's the most powerful, empowering thing you can do. It is the greatest act of self love, because in this world where we are constantly being told to be independent, especially now as women, it's like, oh yeah, I can do it all by myself and blah blah. Like I don't need anyone. You know, it's just me, myself, and I, solo ride until I die because I got me for life. It's like, yeah, that is incredible, but can you like rely on other people though? Can you be vulnerable enough to admit like, okay, maybe I could use someone. I could use some support. Not your toxic ex, okay? I don't mean that bitch. I mean like genuine support that will help you move further from a place of like being in a healthy relationship with yourself, because a lot of the times we want to move forward when we're feeling stuck, and we do it from like pushing and being harsh with ourselves and pretty much bullying ourselves into taking action. I don't think that's the way either. You know, like let me tell you something, I don't think that's the way either, girl, you know, because it's only gonna like I think it's only gonna trigger you further, and at some point you're not gonna be able to handle the pressure, and so it's not gonna help you move further. This is something that I realized this year. It was like I moved so far into like, let's say like if this was a marathon or something, like I move a few kilometers, I think it's kilometers. I move a few kilometers. I'm just gonna say miles, dude. I move a few miles, and at some point I'm like, oh my god, and I keep pushing and I keep pushing. But at some point, you know, that pressure breaks you and you like go all the way back, almost to the start, right? And of course, you learn a few things along the way. So maybe like next time you try it out, you do better. But ultimately, it doesn't get you like to where you want to go. And I think it's because we shouldn't move from pressure. We should move from trust, excitement, safety, and confidence. And that's not always easy. I'm not saying that you just suddenly like you go from being deeply insecure and hating yourself to suddenly like, oh my god, I'm so confident and like, yeah, like I don't chase, I attract, and like saying those affirmations is not going to change your personality in 2 days. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, it does empower you, but it won't empower you for long if you also don't know how to look at your fears. It won't empower you for long if you don't know how to look at your grief and your sadness and your anger, because it's there and it's not a bad thing that it is. We are a whole. We aren't just our light. We aren't just, our empowered selves, our higher selves. No, like we are our broken inner child that's still wanting to be loved and chosen. We are our angry teenager that's mad at everything and everyone, that wants to punch a bitch in the face, that wants to be sassy and wants to be petty as fuck. Like, we are all of that. And when we learn to embrace it, we I think it's so much easier to move through life. Dancing through life, mindless and careless. Okay, that was a wicked reference. But I do think it becomes easier to move through life. And this is something that like you gain wisdom through feeling your emotions. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, you become so much wiser and the path becomes so much clearer when you're not avoiding the depth of you, and when you're not like, pushing aside anything that is perceived as negative, both by you and unfortunately social media has such a great impact in that, because it makes you feel like you have to be positive all the time, like 24/7. And it's not real. It's not realistic. And I'm just done. And I think I've always known that that is not the way, because it felt wrong, but I kept trying to push the narrative onto myself, because I just thought, like, if I can't be positive all the time, then I'm not good enough to get what I want. Ooh! Spilling the fucking truth here, huh? Like, it's so true though. I genuinely started feeling that way. Like, if I can't be positive 24/7, I'm gonna stand in the way of my own manifestations. And I don't think that's how it works anymore. I think it's more complicated than that. I think it's there's more nuance to this whole situation. And on social media, everything feels so black and white, and like there's a fucking infinite amount of colors that you lose in between, but they exist within you and we need to embrace them, right? And so I think, and I've been noticing this not just in terms of like your path and like figuring yourself out, but also like in relationships and the way people interact with each other. I think emotional maturity is the key to like really becoming happier, having a more peaceful life, living in more harmony with yourself and others, like having better relationships, all of it. It's literally key for all of it. Because without that emotional maturity, you're always trying to run away from the things that can build you up, because you're so scared that they're going to destroy you. And sometimes they do, but it's because like sometimes you need to destroy something in order to build something better. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes you need to like sometimes you need to be able to let go of certain things and like start over so that you can build something that will sustain you better for longer. It's like letting go of a relationship. Sometimes you gotta let go of the toxic flaky motherfucker. You gotta let go of that situationship if you want like a husband that will provide for you, take care of you, love you unconditionally for your entire fucking life. It's just like being willing to pay that price, and it's not easy, and I am so guilty of it too. Like it's not like I'm not fucking human. I am, and I feel so much fear of sometimes diving into my emotions. And I was talking to my therapist this week, and I'm going to refer her a lot of times I feel like in the next podcast, because she has been, or our therapy has been really important for me. But something that she has been kind of like explaining to me, and we've been working through, is like basically making space for my emotions. And to give you an example, my dog passed away this Saturday, and a couple months ago my other dog passed away. So like it was too much, too fast, besides everything else that is happening in my life already, from my brother, um like finally, coming back home, to Liam passing away to like just a lot happening. And I did not give myself permission to fully make space for the grief and the sadness and the anger and injustice that I was feeling. And so I just kind of kept going. Maybe I shed a few tears, but like, I just like, okay, I completely blocked myself from feeling certain things because deep down I'm still scared of my own depth. I can go so deep, I can be so sensitive. And it's funny because I was telling my therapist, like, isn't it crazy that like I struggle to cry when my dog dies, and like I love my dog, and I struggle to cry when my aunt is like at the hospital possibly gonna die, and then I'm watching Game of Thrones and I am fucking screaming and crying when a character that doesn't fucking exist is dying, and I'm like, no, no. I was like alone in my house, thank god, because like I was, dude, I basically, my sister convinced me to start watching Game of Thrones. And I mean, of course, I know it's a good show, but I've just been avoiding it because I know it's a big show. I know the last season sucks, for at least for the population's opinion is very unanimous on that. Is that how you say it? But so I was like, I don't know. But then she kind of convinced me to watch it. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just go. And I was watching season three, the last episodes of season three. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, all my favorite characters basically died, or most of them basically died. And I was like, oh my god. I was literally screaming, crying. I have the reaction recorded because I was video chatting with my sister. And I recorded my reaction. And it's like, that's the depth that exists somehow. It exists within me. It's here, but somehow I don't usually access it. Somehow, when my dog dies and my life is falling apart, I barely shed any tears, and I'm suddenly like feeling numb and distant from the world and myself. And then I'm watching a show, and it's like someone is like doing it to me. It's like someone is doing that to my best friend. And I'm like watching this character die, and it's like a punch to the chest. And I'm feeling that, and I'm crying, I'm sobbing, I'm like throwing up. You know what I mean? And it's like the intensity of those emotions, and then I go into my own real life and I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, and I can barely cry, I can barely feel a thing. I feel so distant and so disconnected from so many of the things that happen. And I was talking to my therapist about it because I was like, now that I think about it, maybe this is not normal. Like, now that I think about it, maybe this is like trying to tell me something. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, but who am I? And she basically was looking at me like, huh, interesting. I was like, you think so? I was really hoping you'd say, oh, that's just normal. Don't worry. No, I guess it's not. Um, no, but like, what I'm realizing now is we we learn to kind of block our own emotions. We learn to block our depth and our vulnerability because we want to protect ourselves from the pain. Like, we want to protect ourselves from being rejected, and not the rejection itself, because we don't care about being rejected by people we don't care about, right? Like, most of the times we just care about the people that we want validation from. We care about the people that we admire or that we seek admiration from. Like, it's that type of situation, at least for most cases, I'd say. And and it's like, the rejection itself isn't the problem. It's the fact that it's the pain that comes with it. It's the pain of like being abandoned, or not being liked, or ultimately feeling like you're not good enough. I think that's where it all kind of stems from, if you really think about it. At least that's where my brain is going logically. Does that make sense? Like, I do think that that's it. Because if we're abandoned, if someone walks away, if someone rejects us, if someone doesn't like us, if someone judges us, like, ultimately we're just like, I'm not good enough. And I think that's like one of the deepest wounds that we have as like people, as like humanity. It's feeling like we are never good enough. And I have such a big wound of that for so many reasons, in so many contexts. And I try to like run away from it. And I try to run away from my emotions and from my deep feelings, because growing up I didn't really have the safe space to feel the depth. I didn't have a safe space where I could like cry and scream and, feel everything that I felt, because it didn't feel safe at home. Not to that extent. It's not like I felt constantly unsafe, but I definitely for sure didn't feel safe. And I I think I really learned to block my emotions because I didn't want to show them to my parents. And so eventually I started not wanting to show them to myself, if that makes sense. And that's when I started disconnecting myself from myself. That's when you kind of start feeling that separation, that disconnection, that loneliness, because you are not connected to who you truly are, because you're not really honoring your emotions or your feelings or what's going on inside of you. And you start putting your intention and focus onto everyone else and everything else, and you stop like seeing the you side of that equation. And I think that's when we feel the most deserted. I think that's when we feel the the least loved. It's when we stop putting ourselves at the center of that, and when we stop really like paying attention to what's going on within. And then that affects everything else in our lives. It affects how we move forward, it affects the steps we take, it affects our relationships, it affects how we communicate, it affects our workplaces and the dynamics that we have with our colleagues. Like, it affects every single thing. So to not pay attention to your emotions and to like let that be second picture while you're trying to become the best version of yourself, and while you're like trying to manifest a better life, or trying to like, affirm your way into like a better reality, it's not going to fully work because you're always resisting your emotional state, which is there. And using affirmations, it's just like pulling a rubber band. Like, no matter how much you pull, it's always going to come back. And the more pressure you make, like, the harder the fall it's gonna feel, because deep down you are rejecting parts of you. And I don't think you can find wholeness in the things you're trying to manifest if you don't have wholeness within. I genuinely believe that. And I think that is always kind of like where I come back to. It's like, oh, I'm trying to manifest more money, or I'm trying to have this, and I'm trying to like change my life, and I wish things would just change. But then I'm like, why am I thinking this way? What am I avoiding inside of me that is making me feel like the answer is somewhere out there? And that's when I start feeling needy, or start searching for like, things. Sorry, that's when I start searching for external things as proof, as validation, as like as some kind of pain, what's it called? It's like no, basically like oh geez, I hate when I don't remember words. Relief, pain relief. Like, you kind of just start looking for a relief or a release or a validation or a sense of like approval, but then it never actually fulfills you because it's not really in alignment with your soul. It's just like your ego is looking for that because you feel so empty inside. And the only reason you feel empty is because you're not accessing that depth. Because believe me, there's a lot there. You're never empty. You're just not accessing the like, the bulk of who you are. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm always so philosophical about these things, but I just, yeah, I think I'm starting to understand the importance of really connecting to your emotions. And the work that I've been doing both in the membership that I'm in and the therapy, that's been really helpful for me to start making space for myself and for my emotions. And because you're always feeling something, almost always. Like, it's so rare that I am like in neutral state. Most of the times I'm either feeling anxious, or there's like something rising up, or I'm feeling happy, or I'm feeling a sense of like relief or comfort, or I'm feeling fear and I'm worried, or I'm kind of angry and slightly triggered and activated by something someone said. It's almost it's almost impossible to not feel a thing. And when you don't, it's because you're scared of that depth. And that is okay, though. I'm not saying this as in like it's a bad thing. It's just really think and reflect, like, am I actually listening to me? Am I actually like paying attention to what's going on inside of me? Because how can we, like judge someone or feel so angry when someone doesn't listen to us and that doesn't pay attention? How can we feel angry at the universe for not like, listening to our requests or whatever when we are not really even listening to ourselves? Like, how can we expect that? Because the universe and life around you is just a reflection of you. And the more you realize this, the more you see that connection. Like, it is almost annoying how how well that reflection works, but it's like a fucking mirror, the clearest mirror ever, right? And it's so funny because you see that when other people around me, like for example in my family, they're like super worried all the time, like, oh my god, you're like going on an Uber at night. I'm like, what do you mean? Of course, like what's the problem? It's like, oh, it's so dangerous and they live in fear. And I that gives me that fucking ick, no offense, but like it just really does. Because my entire life I had a fear mongering mom. Raise your raise your hands if you had the same. I had a fear mongering mom, and she was always like, "Oh my god, this is gonna happen, and blah, blah, if you go here, this is gonna, and oh, be careful because they might do this," and and it's so annoying. And I would always be like, "Oh, like you want me to live in a hamster ball or whatever and never get out? Like I can't do that. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to experience life." And you can tell when people watch the news. You can tell when people are angry because the way they respond to life, and then that creates their reality, is them. It's a direct like translation to who they are being, right? And I think that's just so interesting. And it can be annoying when you're feeling like shit and when you're feeling frustrated and then things continue to like bottle up, and it feels like almost there's this snowball effect happening where like things just keep adding up, and it's like, oh my god, this is bad luck. Oh my god, this is bad luck. Oh my god, I'm so unlucky. And it kind of becomes this like thing where suddenly it's like your entire reality. It's like, oh, I'm just unlucky, like the universe just hates me type of thing. And you start thinking that like you were specifically picked for the universe to like mock you your entire life. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. We just really do create our own realities. And I feel like I'm going on so many tangents here. My brain is like, woo, active today. But yeah, I think one of the things that I realized the most is how important it is for us to really listen to ourselves, to really pay attention to our emotional state and not set that aside. And when I say emotional, I also mean, of course, physical and mental. I just mean that emotions are that like bridge that will take us deeper into our intuition, into our purpose. I'm yawning. Into our purpose, into our intuition, into the things that we love, the things that really truly light us up. And I think that's something priceless, and it's worth the trouble. It's worth the fucking inner work, okay? It's worth the few headaches that you're gonna have when you're like, shit, this is uncomfortable. But it is worth it. And I think it's really, really special to have that. And so let's go back to the beginning of this conversation, because, like, ultimately, what I really feel right now is that there's this new wave of energy coming. And I've seen a few people online talk about it. So I know I'm not the only one feeling this, but there's that new wave coming. And maybe it's going to affect everyone differently. Maybe you're not there yet, and it's okay, because, it just might not be that time. Maybe you're going to feel that, in December, or maybe you're going to feel that in September, or maybe you're going to feel that mid to end August. Like, I don't know. But I do feel like there's an energy kind of surging right now. Maybe it's because of the portal, and maybe it's because as a Leo, I'm more connected to this specific energy, and there's a full moon in Aquarius coming, and I'm a moon in Aquarius. So like there's a lot of things planetary wise that are kind of like aligning with my own personal energy. So maybe that's also why I'm feeling myself more. But also, like, it took me a fucking year to be here. Since August last year, I have been in this place of like things just being thrown at me again and again and again. It's been an entire year of that, and it was such a hard year. I cannot stress that enough. It was such a hard year. You know what I mean? Like, ugh. It was freaking hard. I low key kind of hated most of it, but I also know that was important. And I also know, like, a lot of it doesn't make sense yet. But I know that maybe in a year, maybe in two, I'm going to be like, whoa, that specific moment in my life started this butterfly effect that led me here. Who knows? Like, maybe I'm finally ready to meet my husband. Hello? That'd be nice because I miss sex. Let's change conversations for a little. It's not a girls and growth podcast without a little nasty conversation because, like, I'm taking a break from these books, which are the Twisted series from Anna Wong. Oh my goodness. I love these books so much. And I finished the series. I don't know which series I'm going to consume next, but I need to move forward quickly because I don't know how to handle my life without smut anymore. Because I'm already a nasty bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been a little nasty. I've been a nasty girl. I've always, or almost always, like, since I was really young, I was very curious sexually and active and blah blah. And nowadays, obviously that's very, very active and alive within me, and I'm not so ashamed of it anymore. And so reading these smut books, I feel like it healed something in my soul. Like, now to be honest, like, let's get deep a little, no pun intended, but I do feel like it healed something in my soul. Like, it made me feel so seen in my, like, freakiness, It made me feel like, oh my god, I love this. And the way these like fictional men act, the way they like talk about the girls, the way they feel about them, the way they desire them, the way they give them pleasure. I know it's like, oh, it's a book, it's fiction, that's not real, men could never, but like, I totally fucking disagree with that. And we're gonna have a series about this coming up soon called Bad Boy Survival Guide here on the podcast on August 8th. So it's literally gonna be one day after this podcast is released. Um, but this to say, because like, I genuinely do believe that there are a lot of men like that out there. I've met some of them. I i have yet to meet my man. I think I don't think I know him yet, because I don't know many men. To be fair, but I do think that this kind of healed something in me. It made me feel like less crazy for wanting what I want. It made it feel real. Like, it made it feel like, yeah, this love, I'm not available for anything else, Like, I do want a guy who's low key obsessed with me. I want a guy who gives me pleasure, who treats me like a queen, who protects me. I I deserve that shit, right? And also the nasty bits. It's like, oh yeah, fuck yes, I love it. I was like reading this all giggly and be like, because it's like, it's so good. But now the series is over and I'm still trying to decide which series I'm going to start next. So I haven't been reading any books, and I'm single, and I haven't been really like going on dates or anything. I'm thinking of going back into the dating world starting maybe in September or something. Why, you ask? I cannot reveal yet, but there is going to be a big life-changing moment for me coming up soon, and I'm really excited about it. Also low-key terrified, but that's the price to change, I guess. But I am really excited, and I've already told my bestie, like, once this happens, I feel like I'm gonna like download an app again, because why not? Like, I think it's fun to have that in your life from time to time, and who knows what can happen. I don't know if that's where I'm gonna meet my husband. I'm pretty sure it won't be, but it doesn't mean that I can't like get to know other men and just like continue to like not get rusty in that area, because I do get really shy when I talk to guys, especially if I think that they're really fucking attractive. Because I know, I get it, but it's like sometimes I forget that I'm attractive now. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes I still feel like the little girl who was bullied in school for being like ugly or weird or dressing funny, or having like a weird hair and weird glasses, or just being a little bit like chunkier, which I never like fully was, but I felt like I was the fattest bitch alive, because of the way my parents talked about it, because like how it was perceived at the time. We were not body positive, back then. There was no such thing as body positivity. It was more like body negativity, okay? So of course, like, I learned to appreciate my body, and I learned to like take care of myself. But I think I also matured, and damn, like, now I'm literally obsessed with myself, and I'm like, I know I'm hot, but if there's a really fucking attractive man, I still think I'm out of his league, and that's something that I'm like working on. And so I do think that going on dates can really help with that, and just normalize, like, yeah, attractive men find me attractive, and yeah, like, men like to talk to me, and yeah, I don't think that like meeting a guy is special in just as it is, but I think I will know almost right away when it is my husband. I trust that I will. So this to say, I don't even know where this conversation started, but there's always that energy there of just like this horniness and this like ooh. That will be a fun time for me. I think that's gonna be really fun to share about here in the podcast. But for now, B is still single, just reading smut, or not really, not really now. But but to say, I do feel like there's a wave of energy coming, and I don't know what that's gonna translate into. Again, maybe it's my husband. Hopefully, I really do miss sex. Do you know what it is like to read to these books? They're so fucking. Oh, let me read a passage. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Just a passage. This for those who don't know. I just want to. I just want to give you an example of what I mean. Okay, so this is his perspective, by the way. She tasted just as good as I'd imagined, sweet and perfect, made just for me. I laughed and sucked, teasing the tip until it hardened into a diamond peak. This is about the boobs. I moved onto her other breast, alternating back and forth and licking and suckling, like I was a man starved. I couldn't get enough. The taste of her against my tongue was fucking heaven, silky and addictive, like a shot of pure lust into my bloodstream. Like, is that not incredible? So reading that, like, a bitch of course touches herself, but I really sometimes I really genuinely think, like, what is it gonna feel like to have a dick inside me again? You already know. Too much information for the win. Like, but seriously, I do not know, because also I don't own a dildo. I want to, but also, like, in the phase that I'm at, I don't think it makes sense. Like, I live with other people. I do not have that level of privacy right now, and I don't know how it's going to be for the rest of the year. We'll see. But for now, it's just my shower head and the water pressure, which is peak. Okay, people, you should try it. If you can adjust the water pressure of your shower head, you are missing out, girl. You are missing out. No, but seriously, something that I generally think about, generally wonder, it's like, what is it gonna feel like to be touched by a man again, and by a man that I genuinely love, or at least at the time I'm already like going into that level of like intimacy with him, not just physically but emotionally and mentally, like that we're walking into like a relationship together. And I do not know how I'm gonna feel like being kissed again, and like being penetrated again. Oh my god, I feel like I'm literally gonna die of pleasure when that happens. I think that's the only thing I keep reminding myself. It's like, okay, you know what? Do you know what? Just remember that although I've been single for 2 years, um, it's gonna be worth it. Because once I feel that again, it's gonna be the best sensation ever. And I just continue to remember that. It's gonna be so worth it when I have that moment. It's like, oh my god, fuck yes. So we'll see. I don't know what's stored for me this next year. Honestly, I'm starting to think, like, now that I'm feeling this energy back in, like, maybe I'm gonna, work on my vision board again. But I don't know. I'm not feeling it yet. I don't know if something is gonna change, or if it's because I think I just want to do it by the end of the year again. Either way, I think right now I just really want to take one step at a time. That's been kind of my motto for like everything, especially for social media and stuff like that. I'm just like one step at a time, one video at a time. Like, don't overthink it. Just take one step. Because I used to stress so much about taking one step at a time. People tell you, like, just take one step at a time. And you're like, you feel like it's not enough. You feel like you need to take 1,000 steps at a time. And you like try to overthink so that you can like figure out some steps so that you can figure out a quicker way to get what you want. But then it only stresses you out and it blocks you. It freezes you because you're like, this is too much to handle because you're not supposed to handle all of that at the same time. You're supposed to take this first step and then the second one and then the third one. And I think we freeze ourselves, we hold ourselves back by trying to figure our way into like step 13 or step 15 or step 100 because we want to move quickly, because we want to figure it out, because we think that if we're not moving fast enough, then we're never going to get there, then we're just not enough, period. And I think that's such a big misconception. It's enough. One step at a time is enough. Really breathe into that and notice how it makes you feel. Because you might feel super tensed up with the idea that, like, one step at a time is enough. One little action at a time is enough. Does that feel good or does that feel stressful because you're like, no, but I need to get there faster? Because I used to feel that way. And of course, there's like that feeling still comes up a lot where I feel like I need to rush. I feel like this anxiousness inside of me and this like agitation. I'm like, like I start like freaking out, and it's like water boiling, it starts just sizzling a little, like, and then it's like that is not that's not what boiling water sounds like, but you know what I mean. But suddenly it's like super quick and just bursting out of you, and that's when you like when you start overdoing or just overthinking or over analyzing and just like draining yourself of so much energy and like putting yourself in like stressful mode and pressure. And that's when you start coming out of alignment, and you're pushing the rubber band so fucking much that like you can't take pressure for long. Eventually that's gonna have to swing right back at you, you know what I mean? And that's gonna hurt like a motherfucker. So I think something that I'm really trying to work on is one step at a time is more than enough. And I'm going to celebrate each step that I take. There's nothing more that you can do. There's no, like, what's it called? There's no shortcuts to the life that you want to build. You know, some people are meant to do it at 24. Some people are meant to do it when they're 30 or 40. It doesn't matter, because the point ultimately is for you to enjoy your life. It's for you to enjoy your existence while you're here. It's not for you to be so pressured and stressed all the time that you can't do shit, that you're not appreciative of what you already have. And like, I know some people would rather sacrifice that and have the success. But I'm sorry, I'm not those people. I'm just not. There are hard things that you need to do. But one thing is to do hard things, another thing is to sacrifice yourself. And I don't think those two things are the same. I think if you are sacrificing yourself, you are going to lose so much more than you're going to win. There are highly successful people out there who are miserable, who are constantly stressed, who are constantly frustrated, who are constantly angry at the world, and their relationships suck because they do not know how to have that emotional balance. And when you have that emotional balance, that internal reality, like your wisdom tells you, like, take one step at a time. We're going to get there. You don't need to rush it because you're going to get there. Why would you rush it rather than appreciate it? What if you could find wholeness and fulfillment with taking one step at a time? Wouldn't that feel so much lighter for you? And I think that's just what I continue to try to remind myself. One step at a time is enough. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year from now. I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't know. I genuinely don't fucking know. And that is terrifying sometimes. That really does scare me. But it's like, I wouldn't be able to know because my soul, not even I, but my soul chose the unconventional path. My soul chose to do things in a way that most people wouldn't do them. My soul chose to take a route that hasn't been walked before. my soul chose to carve her own path, and with that comes deep trust and patience, and 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 learning to feel safe wherever I'm at, and learning to feel whole wherever I'm at. And that's gonna sometimes feel like it's a punishment, like why can't I just be here already? How come I'm not there yet? How come I still have so much of my life to figure out, and there's other people who already have a specific job and a career path like already on the making, and they already have kids, and they're already married, and they're already met their soulmates. Like, how come I don't have that? And they do. Like, but it's not something that you can compare ever, because you are so unique. And what you came here to do is so uniquely you. And that can feel like a curse, but it is a gift, because it means that if you really listen to that, you are going to feel so much better than most people around you. And I don't say that as in like compare yourself because you're so much better. No, but I mean that as in like, because let's face it, maybe most people around you look like they have it figured out, but do they really? Are they actually happy? Are they actually at peace? Do they actually love what they do? Do they wake up excited on Monday? You know, I want to build a life that I'm excited about, that inspires me, that has meaning to me. There's nothing more valuable to that for me than that. And I would rather cross every line, break every fucking rule, do everything in a complete upside down way than to give that up, because that is my truth. And there is nothing more magical and empowering and purposeful than that. That is it. That's my episode for you girls. Oh my god, that was so special. I love you so much. And I'll be back here this week for the Bad Boy Survival Guide that I might record today, actually. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I love you so much. Thank you for being here. And definitely make sure that you're sharing this with a friend. I know people need to listen to this. And I just say that I really appreciate this energy that we're building here with the Girls in Growth. More people are finding the podcast since I've been more present on social media, since I've come out of my hiatus. Thank God, because I'm not One Direction, okay? I don't say it's gonna take 3 months and then it takes forever. No, like I said, 3 months. I'm here, bitch. I'm here. I couldn't even handle 3 months. I was just like, okay, I need to start now because like I miss my podcast. I miss my girlies. No, but I just really want to like show my appreciation for that, and also for like this vibe that we're building, because I generally do feel like I'm talking to a friend, like I generally feel like I'm talking to people that I know and feel comfortable with, because I feel so comfortable with you. And yeah, I just love this. I love that we went a little bit everywhere. I literally like this is literally what it sounds like when I send voice notes to my friends, and I think there's nothing more exciting to me than that's the level of comfort that I've built in this podcast. That's everything I've ever wanted, and it just feels really special to finally be at this place with you. So thank you so much. I love you, girls.